So anyway, I just wanted to sort of help us relax a little bit because this is a tough week. What we're going to talk about, this is a tough week. Does anyone, no, I'm not going to say it's you, okay, because nobody here has this problem. You know somebody else who has trouble saying no. Do you know anybody like that? Why do you think they have trouble saying no? Because they're generous? That could be one reason. Why else might people have trouble? They're people pleasers. Why else might somebody have trouble saying no? They don't want people mad at them? Make other people feel loved and important? Or how about mine, it's mine? Don't you remember the second Star Wars? Yoda is fighting over that little light and he's beating on R2-D2 saying, mine. You know, even he had it. You know, we need, you know, the idea of saying no. Even some very important people like Steve Jobs said, focusing is about saying no. Or Warren Buffett, who said, we need to learn the slow yes and the quick no. Or Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of England, said, the art of leadership is saying no, not saying yes. It's very easy to say yes. Do you find it that way? You find it's easy to say yes? Yes. And hard to say no? Yeah, it is. More muscles, yeah, let's say. There's actually some, research about this. There's actually, the fear of saying no. And these people have these different phobias. I'm not going to go through them, but it's the idea that people are panicked about saying no. They're panicked. They always want to please. They always want to do it. As a matter of fact, there is a girl who just couldn't say no.
Though I can feel the undertone, I never make a complaint till it's too late for restraint. Then when I want to, I can't say no.
Sound like anybody you know? Well, we're going to talk about today one of the great unknowns. Her name is well known, but she takes up like this much space in the Bible, okay? She drops in, she does her thing, which is really pretty terrible, and then she's gone. Now, when I show you her name, you're immediately going to think back on a movie, okay? Or portrayals of her. And what we want to do is we want to look at her, but maybe say, how did she get this way? Do you ever meet somebody and say, how did they get this way? Yes. I know somebody, I've known them for about 10, 15 years. And this week, they were arrested twice. And I hurt for them, but I wonder, how did they get here? They didn't just drop out of the sky to be arrested, to be bailed out, to go about life waiting to go back, to see that have their case, only to be arrested again and to be bailed out again. And Delilah is very similar. She really is. We see her in Judges where if you want to open your Bibles, that would be terrific. They'll be on the screen. Sometime later, he, who is what? Samson, right? Samson and Delilah. You've heard of them? Yep. Samson and Delilah. Samson, what does he do? He falls in love with this woman of the Valley of Sorek whose name was Delilah. Now, it says sometime later, which means something happened before this, right? Do you know what happened right before this? Samson picked up a woman of the streets, a prostitute, and spent the night with her. And that wasn't enough, so he now hooks up with Delilah. Now, in case you don't know much about Samson, you know, his birth was predicted by God. God and the angel of the Lord appeared to his mother and said, she hadn't been able to have children. You're going to get pregnant. You're going to have this kid, and this kid's going to be special. He's going to be special. He's going to be dedicated to God from the womb. That's pretty special, isn't it? Yes. You know anybody else who was dedicated like that? Who? Christ? John the Baptist. His birth was predicted. But neither Jesus nor Christ nor John were Nazarites. Their lives lived under this very constricted set of rules. And we see, their hair's not going to be shaven. And we know that John was not a Baptist because all the time we've seen him in the movies. He's had long hair. And the movies are always true, right? You got that? So that's sarcasm 101. So he's going to be dedicated, but going back, Samson looks at her and says, she's a hoochie coochie mama, as we would say. So anyway, she then connects with Samson, but the rulers of the Philistines went to her, and what do they say? Hey, we got a deal for you. See if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength. And what do they try? How do they try to get her to do this, to find that out? They pay her. It's a bribe, right? How much? 1,100 shekels of silver. Now, don't go looking on your phones for what a shekel is, okay? Think of it this way. 28 pounds of silver. That's...
Each one gave her that.
I'm sorry?
Each one.
It says each one of us, yeah. So it's not just one. It's one times however many of these rulers. Thank you, Elaine. So, that's quite a nest egg, isn't it? That's quite an inducement. That's quite a bribe. So they come to her, and have you ever come to the point where you've had to make a choice? Yes. And isn't it easier to make the choice based on choices you've made in the past? Yes. Maybe you started going down a path. And once you start going down that path, what's the easiest thing to do? Keep on going. It's like this. I just love this. These people who live in different parts we have no strange customs here in America, okay? Just in case you wondered. Okay, but this is a tradition that's in Great Britain. tough to stop, isn't it? And what is the prize? A roll of cheese. You know, but once you start rolling down, what's the easiest thing to do? To keep going. The rolling, you keep rolling and rolling. And isn't that maybe what happened to Delilah? She didn't come here and get bribed and all of a sudden think, I have this great moral problem. She already was rolling down that hill. Samson was already rolling down that moral hill himself, right? He shacked up with a woman before this. Here's another one. Makes sense. I'm on that path. So Delilah says, okay. And then so she goes to Samson, and can you imagine this? How do you think she goes up to Samson and tries to get him to tell her? How do you think that happened? Do you think she sat there reading a book and said, hey, you know, Sammy baby, I was just wondering as I'm reading Plato or something, where's your great strength come from? Do you think that's how it happened? No. How do you think it was? Oh, Sammy. Sammy. You know, and it wasn't just tell me. It's like, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Have you ever had one of your kids or a grandkid or an employee do that to you? I want to know. I want to know. Tell me, tell me, tell me. So, you know, he tells her a lie, and it doesn't work. So guess what? She's rolling down that hill. She says, you have made a fool of me and lied to me. Come now. Come now. Okay, it's getting more serious, right? Come now. Tell me. It's like what the Beatles sang. Tell me why you lied and why you cried to me. I won't sing it because I like you. You know, it's now tell me. She's beating on the desk a little bit. She's tapping her toes. She's showing more and more. And so he lies to her again. And it goes a third time. And now she says, all this time you have made a fool of me and lying. Tell me how you can be tied. It's not even to get rid of his strength. It's just, how can we tie you up? And he lies to her again. He says, he makes up these stories. But each of the stories gets a little bit closer to the truth. So finally, after 3 failures, she says, how can you say I love you when you won't confide in me? This is the 3rd time you made a fool of me and haven't told me the secret. And how did she do that? She was nagging. Nagging doesn't happen once, does it? No. Have you ever been nagged? Yes. I know nobody here has ever nagged anybody. I remember I nagged my 2nd grade teacher. She had made a promise to me that I was going to be able to do something in front of the class. And I bit on that real hard. That went right in the old memory banks. And when it didn't happen after a week, guess what I did? I gently reminded her. Nagging. And finally, after about 4 weeks of this, in total frustration, you could see it, she said, okay. And she let me go and do what I was going to do. Actually, it was to dance in front of this class. We're not going there. Anyway, you nagged. She nagged him day after day until, what does it say? He was sick to death. You know what that's like, right? You're at the edge You're leaning over the edge. That's why about 14 people on average a year die in the Grand Canyon. Did you know that? They get lost. They lean over the edge too much. There are railings, and they just, oh, I want to get that shot. So he told her everything. He told her everything. And when she saw that he had everything, she sent word, because this was her payday. 28 pounds apiece. How is she going to carry this? I don't know. But so she sends word, and they returned with the silver. Important part, right? They come back. And after putting him to sleep, this is an interesting thing, she has somebody else shave his head. She doesn't do the deed. She gets somebody else. Maybe she's saying, there, little Samson. There, little Samson. And his strength left him. There comes a time where the bills come due. Samson's been playing around with all these women, doing all these things. He's listed in God's Hall of Faith in Hebrews 11. And did you ever read the Bible and then look to God and say, now God, I know you're God, but do you think you made a mistake here? Have you ever said that? I'm like, God, Samson, really? You don't have anybody better? A better illustration? You know, somebody, because I don't want to teach my kids to be like Samson. I was like, are you kidding me? But he's in the Hall of Faith. And yet Samson, for all of his faults, God used him in a great way. And what's that tell you about God?
He loves us no matter what.
He loves us no matter what. And even in our screw-ups. Do you know somebody who's ever screwed up? Okay. You know, maybe I ought to just pause a moment to give you some quiet, to go through the people in your life, you know, those little index cards in your brain. It's like, is there somebody? Maybe there is. And God still uses them. God still uses them for all of their problems. I don't know if anybody here has seen the movie Jesus Revolution. You seen it? There's a character in there, Lonnie Frisbee. Okay? On his death, after his death, I think it was either Chuck Smith or the other guy. I'm sorry? Greg Laurie. Thank you. One of them spoke at his funeral. And you know how they described him? They said he was a Samson-like character. Lonnie had been abused starting at 8 years old by somebody who was supposed to be taking care of him. And he had lots of problems. And I think the film showed some of that. But even through that, God still could use him. Didn't make it. Life is, can I tell you something? Sure. Now, everybody's sitting down, right? Put both feet on the floor. Please, put both feet on the floor. Okay. Because this is shocking. Life is messy. And people are the cause of all that mess. Do you have any mess in your life? Yes. I guarantee that there's a person in there somewhere stirring that pot. But God used even Delilah, to get to the end. And what happens to Samson? They grab him. They say, I'm going to go out before, but no, he can't. So what do? They grab him and they gouge out his eyes. Oh. And then they bind him. They put these bronze handcuffs on him. And they take him out, blind, and they hook him up to this wheel, and all he can do is walk around to grind grain. He lost his freedom. He lost his eyesight. He lost everything. And we never hear of Delilah again. She's gone, off, out of the pages. But God's not done with Samson. Samson's hair, it says, starts to grow back. And he comes back and he tears down a temple that's filled with people worshiping false gods. But look at Samson. He's all alone. He's lost his eyesight. He has no one around him. Does that sound like anybody you know, people who are alone? The Americans, this is a chart. The yellow is how much time we're spending alone. You see that? Which way is the yellow going? Up. Not just a little bit, is it? A lot. We're becoming like Samson, alone. We're all alone. Everything else is taking second place. We're all alone. Samson is all alone. Delilah, through all of this, is only with, she's gotten this deal, but she's working at how? All alone. Somebody once said, integrity is what you do when no one's watching. We're all alone. The World Health Organization says that we've had a 25% increase in anxiety and depression.
I'd say it's even higher than that.
Could be. We're alone. We don't have anyone with us, which it brings the question, and I want to talk to Samson, I want to talk to Delilah, and I want to talk to myself. I want to say, who are you standing with? Because if you're not standing with someone, what are you? You're alone. You're in a position of weakness. You have no one to lean on, right? No one to help. Yes. God.
We're never alone if we think right as we think it will be.
You see, thank you. But here on earth, unless God puts us in a really unusual place, we are to be people who are not alone. Because when I'm alone with myself. And I'm leaving myself open. In the TV series The Chosen, Nathaniel goes through a real tragedy. He has his life planned. He's going to do great things for God. He has plans to build synagogues for people to come to worship and learn about God. And his big project fails. And now he's been labeled as a failure. Listen to his prayer. Could you turn out the lights?
Hear Israel, the Lord is one God. The Lord is one. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Let my cry come to you. Do not hide your face from me in the day of my distress. Incline your ear to me. Answer me speedily in the day when I call. No? This was done for you. Do not hide your face from me. Do you see me?
Do you see me? When was the last time we cried that to God? When was the last time that life just bottomed out? Okay? You been there? Maybe you're still there. Maybe you're headed there. And you, like Nathaniel, he's all alone in his failure. And he cries out to God. He says, "Are you there? Are you there?" God has given us a promise that we're never to be alone. If you know Jesus Christ, you have a promise that says, Jesus says what? I will never leave you or forsake you. I'm never going to walk away. And how do we know that? Because he says that I will ask the Father and he might give.
He will give.
What's the difference between might and will?
Definitely.
It's going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
It's going to, he says, he, God the Father, will give you another advocate to help you and to be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. If you've given your life to Jesus Christ, think about this for a moment. Delilah was alone. Samson was alone. You and I are never alone. And not just never alone, we have God himself inside of us. Have you ever just let that percolate inside of you? That God himself is inside of you. And he's not going anywhere. He's inside of us. And he's called another. There's two different kinds of another. That's like another that's different, but there's also another of the same. It's like when you go and order ice cream. You ever say, I'll have another. Or, I changed my mind. I don't want one dip. I want two dips. I want another of the same kind. Jesus says, the Spirit of truth is on par, the same level as him and God the Father. And he is an advocate. If you go back and look in your different Bibles, you're going to see all sorts of different kinds of words. He's called advocate, he's called friend, he's called counselor, he's called the comforter, an advocate, the helper, a companion. He is someone who's always by your side. He is someone who's always on your team. He's someone who's always got your back. He's not on your back, he's got your back. If anybody here ever been in the military, you hear the expression, got your six? You ever hear that expression? What's that mean? I got your back. Talk to people in the military and the bond that they have because they can trust the person who's got their back. We can trust God the Father. He's got our back. The Holy Spirit's got our back. Psalm 139 describes us as he knows us in front of us, behind us, beside us. Where you ever see the episode of Seinfeld, The Bubble Boy? You know that? We're in a bubble. We're in a bubble of God. He's all around us. We're in the middle of a sphere, a ball. And he's all around us. And yet, life's not perfect, is it? But we can trust that even through all of those things, he won't abandon us. He won't leave us. Remember, Nathanael called out, "Where are you?" Remember what happens just a little bit later? He meets Jesus.
What is this? How do you know me?
I have known you long before Philip called you to come and see. Don't look at him, look at me. When you were in your lowest moment, and you were alone, I did not turn my face from you. I saw you under the fig tree. Rabbi. There it is.
You are the Son of God, the King of Israel.
I knew it. Well, that didn't take long. He doesn't mess around.
We're all looking for an experience like that, aren't we? And after Jesus is resurrected, he says to the same guy, you know, "You wanted to see my hands and my feet, to put your hands." He said, "Yeah, you've seen it, and that's a good thing. But blessed are those who believe and yet they haven't seen." God is calling us to live our lives, to make decisions day by day, moment by moment, on the basis that he's around us, on the promise that he's right there. And he's not going anywhere. Which brings up the question for you and me. What do you think about your future? You think your future is done? Stick a fork in it, or maybe it's like the turkey. You ever buy the turkey or the turkey breast? It has that little pop-up thing, you know, and it pops up when? When it's done. When it's done. And you're thinking to yourself, my little pop-up thing has done, written all over it. It's come up. I'm at the end. I'm just going to coast. I'm just going to just try to drift along and not get into too much trouble. And, you know, just try to drift down the river of life. I'm here to tell you, I'm here to challenge myself and you that God's not done. Delilah might be done. Delilah's story is over. Samson, he had one great thing left. Blind and chained, he still had one great thing left to do. And he was going to do it. He wasn't going to allow what was in the past stop it. Same thing happened to Jack Nicklaus in 1986. Everybody didn't say, everybody knew Jack Nicklaus is done. He's he's 46 years old. Nobody wins the Masters at 46. It's all done. Put a stamp on it, it's done. But he didn't believe that. And over the final 9 holes, he came from being way back. He beat out Tom Kite, Greg Norman, and Seve Ballesteros and won the Masters at 46. Listen to it.
He wore his first green jacket 23 years ago. He was the youngest champion then, and we've watched him grow through the years. There's never been a golfer like him at the Masters. Maybe there's never been a golfer like him, period.
A friend of mine this week had an article. It was written in Atlanta last Sunday. Put it on the refrigerator, made me read it. His article says, "Nicklaus, gone, done. Clubs are too rusty." And I kept thinking that all week. I said, my clubs are not rusty and I'm not done.
His clubs aren't rusty and he's not done. Interesting thing about the article, it appeared in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It was written by a guy by the name of Tom McAllister. You got to have guts to write something like that about Jack Nicklaus. But he wrote it. Didn't think anything about it. And then Nicklaus makes this great charge on the back nine and wins. And Tom's there covering it. You know, he's never met Jack Nicklaus, doesn't know him. But so after the event, after he wins, they have a press conference, right? Well, another reporter goes up to Tom and says, his name was Edwin Pope. Edwin goes up to Tom and says, "Hey, Tom, Jack wants to talk to you." Oh, baby. And, you know, he just melts. What is he going to... He's going to yell and scream. He's going to point at me and say, "Hey, I got you." But listen, what happened? Nicklaus comes up, walks up to him, shakes his hand, and says, "Thanks, Tom." He thanked him. And Tom said, "I'm glad I could help." We all need encouragement. Some of us hear a whisper and we go, right? Others of us, now we won't mention any names, need a swift kick in the butt. Is that too harsh to say on a Sunday morning? We need more than that. And by God's Spirit, I'm asking him to encourage you, however you need to be encouraged. He knows you. He loves you. Christ died for you. And it's in response to who he is and what he has done that it's time for us to get back in the game. We're not trying to do something to say, "Now, God," nobody here has ever done this. Say, "Now, God, I want to make a deal. I'll make a deal with you. If I do this, this, and this, then you're going to do that." You ever done that? Know somebody who's done that? I'll tell you what that is. There's another term for it. It's selfishness. We need to go to God and say, "God, you are so good. You have been so kind. You died for me. You rose from the dead for me. You've given me the Holy Spirit." And in response to who you are and what you've done, I want to honor you. I want to love on you. I want to obey you. I want to turn my life right side up, inside out, for you. It's in response to his goodness. And for some of us, I come from a background that says, I got to prove it. I got to earn it. That's a hard thing to shift gears on. But God is wanting us to say, look at how good I am. Look, just look. Look all around you. In response to who I am and what I've done, in response to my loving kindness, say, I just want to please you. I want to be a God pleaser. I don't want to be a man pleaser. I just want to have the wisdom to discern the two apart. I don't want to be a God pleaser. I want to be a man pleaser. To do and say the things that please my Father's heart. That's the challenge for this week and for the rest of our lives. Your clubs aren't rusty. You're still in the game. So let's be in the game with our friends, our neighbors, our families, our relationships, the people who just aren't reading the menus and the fast food places. We can be kind because God has been kind to us. And in response, we give him our kindness. Would you pray with me? Our Father and our God, I am so grateful of how good and kind you have been all these years. Even in the years when we turned away from you, in the days where we denied you, in the moments where we said, forget you, I'm going to do my own thing. That your love never wavered. Your kindness never stopped. And you sought us out. And in Jesus Christ, you paid a price that we couldn't pay. And so in loving response, we say thank you. And we want desperately to be the kind of people you want us to be. To turn to you and let you change us this day. In the matchless name of Jesus, amen.